Hello, everyone. So, as a producer of real estate photography courses, I feel like I have a handle on, where people go wrong and with Photoshop and stuff. And the truth is, of course, this goes without saying, I had my Photoshop troubles for many years too. And I say many years because I feel like back then we didn't have as many good courses. So, that's one of the nice things about today. And we didn't really have YouTube. So I understand that it can take hours to sort of get comfortable in Photoshop. I understand that one little mistake, let's just find an example. Maybe the opacity of your layer somehow gets changed, and that little mistake can cost you like 1 or 2 hours, just fiddling with Photoshop, trying to figure it out, right? So the problem with Photoshop is you're going to be making these mistakes at the beginning, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I think everyone has to make these mistakes, like say 10 times. Like if you accidentally change your brush to light and blend mode or something, or you accidentally change your layer to a low opacity, you're just going to have to learn these things. Oh, you did that 10 times now, you know to check for that next time. But I want to really emphasize to you that we're talking here. Photoshop is very complicated, but the truth is, and it can really make you frustrated, right? It can very much be frustrated because you're probably trying to open up a real estate photography business. You just want to be getting clients and working on that. You want to have the basics of Photoshop, but you don't want to be so bogged down with understanding, because it's a huge frustrating program when you're starting. It's just huge. There's way too much complexity in there. So that's why we sort of break it down in my courses. And you're not going to get this anywhere else. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later, what I mean. But if you jump over to these places, you'll do a search. These places have 500 Photoshop courses. They're very good. I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just telling you that there's so many. Which one do you choose? And then the biggest problem is I actually recommend these places. I love the creative live stuff. You can even watch their stuff free when it comes out live. If it's live, you watch it free. But again, they have 1,000 courses. Which one do you choose? And the bigger problem in my estimation is you're learning as a real estate photographer. You're learning about a bunch of stuff that you're not going to use. It's kind of like high school. You're learning about a bunch of stuff you're not going to use. So there's only a few specific things that you need to know about in real estate photography and Photoshop, and that's the crazy thing. And so you cannot get this anywhere else, right? You cannot. There's no way. It's, courses like this are the only way. So, like, for example, in Quit Your Job and Be a Real Estate Photographer, we go into the stuff specifically that you need to know for real estate photography. And I might forget a couple of the ones here, but for example, you can count them on your hand, right? You have to understand brushes. You have to understand maybe flow and opacity. You got to understand masking. You got to understand blending modes. And you got to understand maybe the cloning tools a little bit, and then maybe selections. Every once in a while we'll make a selection, or a sky replacement, something like that. That was only 5 things, right? So basically you can break that down and think 5 tools within Photoshop. And sort of the ideal way that I see this working out for you guys is, I'm going to show you what you need to know in Photoshop in these courses. And as time goes on, you're gonna be using Photoshop effectively and opening up your business. So you're gonna be using it. You're gonna know how to use it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You're gonna make those little errors that you're gonna change the opacity. You're gonna change your brush. I do even have a checklist in this course. Photoshop is acting crazy checklist. So this is for you guys getting started. This is very important stuff, and this sort of gives you a head start. Wasting those 10 hours that you had to figure out. Oh, I see. The opacity on this layer, or I changed that layer to lighten. That's why I was acting crazy. Or I did something to my mask. I changed my mask, the properties of my mask, something, right? So we have that checklist for you to save you hours of frustration and all that, okay? So that's the way I see your sort of path coming, where you're just getting in there and you're learning this stuff that you need to know for real estate photography, Photoshop is huge. It's for people that are like doing, working on the Transformers movies, stuff like this. So we don't need 99% of that functionality. So in the courses, you're going to learn exactly what you need to know for real estate photography. That's not going to be taught to you anywhere else that concisely. And then we have the little cheat sheets. Well, why is Photoshop acting crazy in the Quit Your Job for Real Estate Photography course? Why the hell is it doing this? So you're gonna sort of have an accelerated learning pace when it comes to that stuff. Instead of having to make that mistake 20 times and waste 30 minutes on it each time, before you learn it, you're gonna have a little bit of a cheat sheet there, okay? So you're gonna be much more relaxed when you're in Photoshop. You're gonna be using it in those initial stages to make money. And guess what? You're gonna learn all this stuff that we're talking about. Well, I guess we can call it paying your dues. You're gonna pay your Photoshop dues, but it's gonna be sort of after you're already making money and you're already comfortable using just those exact specific tools that you need. Okay, so go ahead and jump over there. My course, I'd say the one for the beginners that are really starting to get into real estate photography is the Quit Your Job course, and we just sort of ease you into Photoshop, just ease you in ever so slightly, just getting you used to Photoshop and what you need, those say 4 or 5 things you really need to know in Photoshop. And be careful in Photoshop, you don't want to change a little setting or a little this or a little lever in there somewhere. It could completely throw everything off, and that's why, once again, we have the list here. Why is Photoshop acting crazy? And we also have the support group, right? Why is my image saving in these crazy colors? Okay, so we would be able to help you out in that group in 2 seconds. I've seen that stuff before, so we can go to your color settings in Photoshop and get you all straightened out. Okay, so taking care of all those problems, and what it's gonna as a real estate photographer, you got to realize you're gonna be making maybe $50, $100 per hour. So this is a pretty good investment at $50 or $60 here. And you're gonna get your invoice. I give you my invoices, I give you my my terms and conditions. So all this stuff can save you half a day, right? I give you a library of skies. I teach you how to shoot sky libraries. All right, so check it out. Jump over to Peche Photo, and of course I have a few courses, but Quit Your Job is the one I'd recommend to beginners. And please email me with any questions you might have at andrew@pechephoto.com. It's right down here in my email. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll see you for the next one.